Hey, I'm TM, and this is Animal Man by Jeff Lemire, and you're watching Comic Addicts with SVon82.
Let me get myself unmuted. Sorry, we're off to a little bit of a late start this week, but I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to another Comic Book Addicts. This is episode 69, and it's Monday, and it's a very special Monday because it's Memorial Day. And I see the chats popping off. What's going on, guys? I hope you guys have had a great weekend so far. But like I said, it is Memorial Day, and because of that, I wanted to take just a real quick second just to pay our respects and talk about the reason why Memorial Day is a holiday, of course, and that's it's all about those soldiers, the fallen soldiers who fought for this country, and we celebrate all those men, the brave men and women who lost their lives in the line of duty. And I just wanted to take a second to pay tribute to that. So we got to remember that everybody's having their cookouts and stuff this weekend and today, and I hope everybody's having a good time and having a safe time. But I just wanted to take a second to talk about that, and I hope that everybody's having a great week so far. And like I said, I apologize for being off to a late start this week. Monday also means the Monday night lineup. I think we got a whole night. We got a half a night full of live streams. I think Izzy was still off this week, and I think Will Couple Comics is not going to go tonight. But I'm pretty sure Between the Lines is still on, and I think 22 was going to try to go still with top 10 alternatives. So he said that he's had bad power outages down where he's at because of storms and stuff. So I hope that everything is all right where he's at, and hopefully he's able to do top 10 alternatives, but we will see. Anyways, let's see who we got in the chat because the chat is popping off. We got a lot of people in the chat, and I hope everybody's doing good this evening. We got first, as usual, Las Cruces. He says hooray and woohoo and hello from New Mexico. What's up, Las Cruces? I hope you had a good weekend, man. We got Wellbore. He says hooray and woohoo, as well as hello from Alberta, and hello from Chattanooga. I hope you're doing great, bro. Thank you for coming out. Let's see, skimming through. We got DVH. He says, let's go. It's a Brian LCS party right here. Absolutely. Can't wait to get him out and talk about this new comic book. Because I had the chance to read it about a week ago, and I skimmed through it a few minutes ago too, but I had a chance to read it about a week ago, and it was pretty cool. I like the concept of it a lot. Comic Cap Collectibles, what's up, man? He says, hello from New Jersey. What's up, Scotty? Hello, Brian. What's up, Rich? Thank you for coming out, man. And we're going to do the giveaway to anybody that put in the hashtag comic book addicts last week. I loaded it all up on the Will app. And the reason I did the Will app is because you have to be present in the live stream to win. So I figured that would be a way that if somebody wasn't present, I could just click it and spin it over again and do that real quick. And but anyways, we're going to do that later on in the live stream. So anybody that put in the hashtag comic book addicts last week will be entered. We got Tony. What's up, man? He says, good evening, everyone. I hope you're having a good evening so far, Tony. Thank you for coming out. Let's see. Katie, what's up? K-pop junkie. She says, sup, dudes. What's up, Katie? Thank you for coming out. Dave, what's up, dude? Dave CL. He says, oh, yeah, we in the house. Thank you for coming out, bro. I appreciate you. Let's see. But yeah, Memorial Day weekend. Did you guys do cookouts? What did you guys do this weekend? I know I work in retail, so I had a very busy weekend at work. Most of the time, holidays for me just means more work. So that's what that equals to in the retail world. Brother John, what's up, man? Thank you for coming out. He says, what's good, brothers and sisters? Everything's good here. Just a busy weekend. Like I was just saying, it just equals holidays equal a lot more work for me. So, but it's all good. That's part of it. Chop and Drop. What's up, man? Thank you for coming out. Appreciate you. Let's see, skimming down through here. We got Bobby Daylight Ghetto. What's up, dude? I was checking out some of your sketches on Instagram earlier. You do some really cool stuff. Thank you for coming out, hanging out with us tonight. Oh my God, look what we got in the house. We got Jimmy G, Comic Guy. What's up, dude? He says, holy shit, you grew a beard. Woof Woof says, woo. Yeah, dude, I'm growing it out a little bit. I'm letting it go. So we'll see where I go with it. I don't know how long I'll let it go. Maybe I'll let it go the rest of the year. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but I'm digging it so far. So we're going to roll with it for a little while. But thanks for coming out, dude. I appreciate you. It's been a little while. So I appreciate you coming out. We got Vogs as well popping in. He says, hi, guys. Sorry, stuck at work. Been at work since 11 a.m., almost done. I feel you, dude. I've been at work all day. I just got home a little while ago. So, Dr. Hoot question, what's it like? What's what like? Be more specific. But anyways, we got an awesome guest. Let's get the guest out here because we got a really cool one this week. And he is on here. This is his third time coming on, but this time is for a completely different reason. What's up, Gary Woods? Thanks for showing up, man. This time he's on here for a completely different reason. We're going to be talking about a comic book that he actually has written and creative, and I really dig it. I think the concept's really cool, but he's going to come out and talk to us about that and get an update on the CBC Awards. What's changed, what stayed the same, and talk a little bit about that as far as what he's collecting. But anyways, let me stop blabbing. Let's go ahead and get him out here. Y'all help me welcome Brian LCS back to the live stream. What's up, Brian?
Scott, thanks for having me again and again. And thanks for taking a hit for us. I was late. You were on time. I was running late, but I appreciate you covering for me. But we, talked about Memorial Day. We were having dinner over at my in-laws. My father-in-law is a Marine, very proud Marine, proud of his service. And he had set up, I don't know if we can see that. So he set up a little, the table for fallen soldier who, didn't make it home. So, and,
wow.
So we were spending time with them tonight. And so that's why I was late. So,
oh no, it's all good. I was not sweating it, man. And I wasn't about to throw you out there like that. So.
I appreciate
it. We're running late. It's all good, man. I'm not sweating it either way. I'm just happy that you're here with me, dude. Honestly, I didn't think about it and the timing being Memorial Day and everything, but I'm really glad that you could be here.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on. I mean, I've been kind of making the rounds with the community. Been on a lot of streams, and everybody's kind of welcomed me back or had me on for the first time. Talking about the comic book and the Kickstarter. So it's been fun.
It's really cool because you've been on here a couple times before, and it's been to talk about comic books, of course, or to talk about the CBC Awards and promoting that. But this time, I think it's for a really fun purpose, and you've done your first comic book, which I think is really cool. And not only that, but after reading it, the concept of it really appeals to me in particular. I'm really into it, and I'm really into seeing where you're going to go with it. So I'm excited about it. I'm really excited to have you back and talk about this. But anyways, how have you been? It's been about 5 months since the last time that you were here.
Oh, wow.
How long ago was it since you made the move? You made a big move down from New York to South Carolina, correct?
South Carolina, yeah. So it's been about 8 months. We moved in end of September, early October. Okay. So yeah, about 8 months so far. Yeah. So far so good. Everything, transition's been great. My wife and I have talked about it a few times. We're surprised at how smooth things went as far as selling a house and buying a new house and, moving and all of those things. It actually went really, really smooth. So we're very happy, in the new place. So, and closer to my wife's side of the family. So, we're able to spend more time with them, dinners and things like that. So it's been really good.
That's really cool. I'm glad it went smoothly for you. Has there been anything? I know, like living in New York and then moving to South Carolina, life's a little bit different. Life's probably
Oh
a
yeah.
little more slow paced in South Carolina.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely not
What's been
not
like
in
the
a bad
biggest?
way.
Yeah, not necessarily in a bad way, at all. But what's been like the biggest culture shock, or what's been the biggest change for you as far as like moving from there to where you're at now?
I think for me, for work, right? I'm used to kind of work wise. I'm used to more of a more stressful, more maybe high paced, um, environment at work. And so where I'm working now, there's definitely things are a little bit slower, and so that's probably been the biggest adjustment, for me is
Okay.
just the work environment. And again, it's not a bad thing, but it's an adjustment, to get used to, just things moving slower. So
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Well, like I said, I'm glad everything's went smoothly for you so far, and I'm glad you're enjoying it and everything, and it's worked out well for you. Um, but I definitely want to talk about this book, The Doctor, which is the main thing. I've been excited to talk about this. First off, what made you get the urge to want to do a comic book?
so I've always been I've always done writing, and like my comic book collecting, there's been a big break in between when I first did writing and then when I came back to it. So I did a bunch of writing in college,
Yeah.
and screenplays, and some television scripts and things like that. So um, and then life got in the way, got married, career, and kind of put things, family, kids, and just just didn't have time to write, or didn't have the ambition to write. And
Yeah.
now moving, and the kids are older, a little bit more free time, kind of wanted to get back into writing. But then being involved with the comic book community over the last couple of years, and seeing others, do books, start books and fund books through Kickstarter, and some of the other crowdfunding platforms.
Hmm.
It just, I had the urge again to write a script, and then produce it in a comic book form. So yeah, it was kind of it kind of, I thought of it as, I wrote screenplays to hopefully have them made into films, but you can have a similar result with a comic book, because it's,
Yeah.
obviously a visual medium, and being able to, pick and choose what's on the panels and on the pages to help tell the story. So um, and you can do it for a lot, less money than than a movie, or a television show. So it kind of
Yeah.
made sense to now say, all right, well, let me write a script, but the end product will be a comic book, as opposed to some other medium. So
It makes sense.
yeah.
That's awesome. What's like a brief synopsis for people who haven't heard about the book that are watching right now? What would be like a brief synopsis of The Doctor?
Yeah, so the main character is the Doctor. He's a psychiatrist who
Mhm.
helps superheroes or superpowered people with their problems, right? And so I kind of took the idea of, and there's a lot of talk in the community about mental health, and I've had, family members. My dad was a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we've talked
he's
about that as
since,
well.
yeah, he has since passed away.
Mhm.
But he was in recovery, and he was in AA. So I've been around 12-step programs and those type of things since I was 5 years old. My dad, got sober when I was 5. And
His
so,
story was very touching to me when you told me about it.
yeah. So, it's kind of an important piece of my life, growing up, just having him, be in recovery. Um,
Mhm.
and then, like I said, the discussions that we have within the community about, reaching out to one another if you need something, or need to talk, and the whole kind of mental health aspect of it. So I kind of took that, my background with my dad, and the community talk about mental health, and then kind of put that into the doctor's, the doctor's story. So that's kind of where where the idea came from.
Very cool. And Hoot, I was not ignoring your question, man. I was trying to figure out a good way to work it in, but Hoot was asking, the Kickstarter is a huge success already, which it is. It's done really, really well. How often will they come out?
So, the one tip that I learned from Brandon from Dismay Comics was, one of the things that he had suggested to me was, if you can self-fund the book up front and basically have all of the artwork done, and then use the Kickstarter to help recoup cost or pay for the printing, that'll give you a head start on producing books more frequently. And so, because a lot of, some Kickstarters wait until they get the funds and then begin the artwork and production of the book. And so that was something that was a really good tip, because basically once the campaign is done, the book will go to the printer, and hopefully there'll be just a couple week turnaround time. And then I've already outlined scripts for issues 2 and 3, and I'm working on issue 2 right now. So hopefully there'll be a quick turnaround to be able to produce book 2 in the story, and then do a Kickstarter again. But part of this Kickstarter was really just kind of learn the process, because I've never done anything like this before. I got a lot of advice and feedback from others who have, but it's a little bit of a learning curve when you're running it yourself. So so hopefully I'll be able to turn books around pretty quickly. That book 1 is already is already done, right? I printed out a copy myself, have it just on my printer at home, so I could so I could see what it would look like in holding it in your hands.
Yeah, that's very cool. So you get the idea for the comic book and decide you want to do it. How did you go about writing it and actually putting it together without the previous experience? Because like if I decided I wanted to do a book today, I have no idea how I'd go about doing so. I guess I would ask around to people in the community maybe that had done it before and go from there. But I don't know, where did you start from? Because I would have no idea where to start. And
I did that. I like I said, Brandon from Dismay Comics, Doug Bratton, who wrote Isolation, with Reggie Collects. So I picked their brains a lot, just asking them questions about the process. But the fact that I had written scripts before in a screenplay format, a film format, the comic book script is similar to that format. So that wasn't totally new to me. So, but my approach was, I just wrote the script, and didn't consider how it would look in a panel or on a page. And then after I was satisfied with the script, I went back and kind of then started to like storyboard it out, where how it would fall into panels within a page. So that and there were some changes. I had to make a couple little tweaks here and there, but that's kind of how I approached it. I had a few people in the community, Evils Comics and Taylor Winder. I had sent them out the script when it was just a script, the character dialogue, and they gave me some feedback, and so and then that's after I got that feedback from them and reading it again for myself. That's when I kind of blocked it out as far as the panel layout that I could then go to an artist with and have them work on it.
And I feel like Mike and Taylor are probably the two perfect people to give your early rough draft to and let them read it, because they read a lot of comic books and they'll both give you an honest opinion.
Right. That's what I thought, and the fact that they read a lot, they do a lot of reviews. So they have a lot of material that, that's been in front of them, good and bad. So I figured if they could read it and, either give me some feedback or direction on maybe things to change. And there were a couple little things that they gave me back to change. And so I thought that was super helpful from their standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really cool. And we were talking about a few minutes ago that it does borrow elements of recovery. And that was the main element of it that I'm really attached to, and the reason that I really like this title, it borrows elements of recovery and with the meetings and the different things that the characters do. He does this thing. He hands out is it medallions? I think it's. See, I made a note of it.
Yeah, medallions. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a really cool concept because there's an anonymity about these meetings in real life. If you've ever been to a recovery meeting, an AA meeting, NA meeting, any of those meetings, they're very considerate of your secrecy and the way that you go about. You do this, but you do it in a very different way, in the form of these medallions that the doctor Mike Miller hands out the medallions, and it conceals. What is it? It does. It conceals
their identity, really. Yeah. So you don't see a face or their voice, really. You don't hear their voice or see their face because, I took it a step further, right? If you're certain, in any 12-step meeting, like you said, AA or NA, it's really first name basis, right? What gets said in the room stays in the room.
Absolutely.
We really don't talk about it outside of it. And so
yes,
think of that now, but you're adding somebody potentially is a superhero or a supervillain, right? Who has a true secret identity. So there, I had to build in an element in the story to help conceal that.
And it's dealing with this superheroes and villains and their different issues and crap, I just totally blanked out on where I was going to go with that. Yeah, there are some recognizable characters that are they're somewhat recognizable.
Right. So I thought that would be a funny play on.
It's like it's fun. There's some fun Easter eggs, I guess, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
And totally failed. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Cole, what's up, man? Dropping the hot dogs. Thank you so much.
I barbecued hot dogs earlier today, Cole, just for you.
Nice. Very cool. So you decide you're going to do the project and you had a little bit of experience in writing, even though it was your first comic book, but you did have experience previously. So that helped. But the artist, how did you go about getting the artist for the project?
So that was a big, that was something I've never really hired an artist for anything. I've done, some sketch, maybe a cover or things like that, but never to work on a full project like this. So Brandon from Dismay Comics, he really helped me. There's a number of groups on Facebook that are artists, writers, colorists, letterers, that are looking for work or looking to help others on their projects. So I joined a few of those groups and basically met, put out a post saying, this is what I'm looking for an artist to do this type of story. And then got a lot of responses. And then it was kind of like an interview process where I was weeding through, the different replies and finding out, looking at the artist's style. And then, asking them questions, how quickly could they do the work? What would it cost? Those type of things. And so then settled in on, 2 or 3 different artists that I really liked their style. And then, ultimately went with the artist. The artist's name is Van Mack, who did the artwork for the book. So he did some character sketches, some character design for me first, and then he did a single page. And I was happy with the work he was doing and the turnaround time. Yeah. And so then he just continued to do, the entire book. So
very cool. And what's the ultimate goal? Like what do you hope to come out of this? Like how far do you want to go with it? How far do you have in mind currently?
I mean, right now the story that I'm writing is basically 3 books, a 3-book story.
Okay.
But and I'm building in some characters in this storyline that I could use in future stories. So kind of like spin-off books or different books, different stories.
Okay.
But, I didn't want to get too far ahead of myself because I wanted to understand the process, right? What did it take? How quickly could an artist, do the work, the lettering and the printing. So I don't want to get too far ahead. I want to be able to
Mm.
just make sure I can produce a quality book, quality story, quality art, and then kind of go from there. But, so far so good. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. Like I'm surprised and I'm not surprised that the community has backed it because the community is so supportive with things. I mean, you think of like AOKs and giveaways, very
Mhm.
generous community. And
Absolutely.
some other community members have had books and things, and even C3. Gary B had his little novel that he put out, and it was the community really backed it, and so
Hmm.
I'm not surprised that the community has backed what I'm doing, but I am right. I'm still surprised because anytime you throw something out there that you're writing, and there's a money element, right? Not everybody has extra money to spend on things like this. So,
Yeah.
um, the fact that it got funded, relatively quickly, within a couple days, it was fully 100% funded, is really I can't thank everybody enough for jumping on board. Beckerman, Mark, Legion of Comics was kind of saying, oh, he jumped in on one of the tiers that we have in the Kickstarter. That's like a shout out tier, and he was like, oh, we could make fun of Beckerman, and we could put something in there, and
That's great.
and Beckerman was a really good sport about it, and so
Awesome.
yeah, it's been it's been a really great reaction, from everybody, and I can't, like I said, I can't thank everybody enough.
Yeah, because you're putting your heart out there. You put your heart into this, and there's, you hope for success, and you think, I don't know, there's always, I would be so nervous. I would be so nervous to put myself out there like that. But I was going to ask how the Kickstarter went, and I don't even have to ask. We all saw that it's done really well, and I'm really
Yeah,
glad that
yeah,
it's proven successful for you. And that was your first time ever trying to kickstart anything, correct?
correct. Yeah,
What's
yeah.
your
So
first
yeah, I
experience
was,
with it?
just you never know how it's gonna go, and
Yeah, of course. I
I
would be
think
nervous.
the biggest thing is, we already have a base of, you have the community, right? I have people that follow me on YouTube. I have people that follow
Yep.
me on Instagram. There's people that know me from the Comic Book Community Award. So
Yep.
I already have kind of a base audience. So I think that is certainly a big help if you're trying to, do something like this. If if you're doing a Kickstarter and you don't have a presence somewhere, on social media, on Twitter or Instagram or something like that, it's going to be tough to get eyeballs on on the project. So, I reached out, to you and to, 22, Gary B, K-pop, Lorenzo and Marcus, everybody said, sure, come on. And we'll talk about the project. So, when you have, support like that, it's tough to fail, right? When you have that, kind of support around you. So,
Yeah, well, and you give a lot. You give a lot to this community, and you've done a lot for this community. Not just with the CBC Awards, but with AOKs and everything. Just you've been a great person to this community. So it's I think when you put good out there, good comes back to you. I honestly, it sounds
yeah.
cheesy, but I genuinely believe in that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, and I'm proof of it right here. Right. Because the things that I do, like the CBC Awards is more of a, something I enjoy doing, right. Giving
It's
back
fun.
to the community. Right. And
Yeah.
it's a good way to stay involved with the community and know all kind of different parts of the community. So, I don't think of it as, I don't feel like I'm doing anything special. It's just something I want to do. And, I'm glad people have embraced it. So, it's still a little humbling now, to see that the Kickstarter has done so well and people are supportive of me. It's certainly a good feeling. And, like I said, I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. I don't know any other way to explain it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's certainly been a good a good couple weeks since the Kickstarter started. So.
And I did not want to skip over your question, Hoot. I was going to come back to it. Hoot wanted to know, in regards to your artist, how much interaction do you have?
So most of it was done through email or direct message. I never actually talked. I've never talked with the artist, like on the phone or on Skype or, any live stream or anything like that. But a lot of communication through email and a lot of like reference pictures, right? So initially he did a character design for me of what the doctor would look like and some of the other main characters. And so I had a picture in my mind what they would look like. So I sent that. I would send the artist reference photos that I would find from the internet. I actually used a little AI to create the characters through AI just to get a look and a feel that I was happy with. And so then I would send that information to the artist, and then he would draw something in pencil, sketch it out, send it over. And I said, oh yeah, that would look good. Or no, change this a little bit. As far as even some of the coloring and things like that. So definitely a lot of back and forth to kind of get it the way I wanted things to look. But for the most part, the artist is pretty receptive to getting feedback. Or I think, like I said, I think the reference photos, sending like an example photo of something is a big help than just trying to describe it through a message or an email.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be a lot more helpful, and just being a little more direct. It makes sense. That makes sense to me, anyways. What's been your biggest obstacle, do you think, when putting this book together?
I think I wasn't prepared for potentially the cost that goes into it, right? Because you can pay artists. There's artists in these groups that are from all over the world. Not only the United States, but just everywhere, all different countries, across the world. And so you can pay, $30-$40 per page of art, up to $300-$400. So
Oh wow.
If you're getting a rate at $300 or $400, say $300, and you're doing 10 pages, that's $3,000. You're doing a 20-page book, you're at $6,000. So
it's a lot.
Yeah, but you think of it from an artist perspective. It may take them several hours to do a page of art. So there's different styles, different quality of work as well. And so that was probably one of I don't know, it was a hurdle, but it was a big surprise, right? Because there was no way I could self-fund a book that I was paying an artist several $100s a page. It would be impossible to do that. Because if you're doing a 20-page book and you're already at $5,000-$6,000 just for the artwork, and then you have to have maybe it colored and it lettered and printed, you could be taking on $7,000-$8,000 project. So I think that was, like I said, not so much a hurdle, but just a big surprise, because I didn't realize that it potentially could cost that much to produce a book.
Wow. Yeah, that adds up quick. Jeez, I 100% get at least one message a day from random artists. Yeah, I get those a lot too. You get a lot of those.
I get that on Instagram a lot. Like somebody, a lot of people looking to do a logo for me.
Yes, absolutely. And some of them just are artists getting their start, just trying to get some a paying gig. So I don't know. But what do you hope people take from it when they read it? Like what's your ultimate goal in, like, as far as like, what do you want to accomplish, people taking from the series when all is said and done?
I mean, I hope they like the story, right? I hope they, find something in any one of the characters that they can relate to. But hopefully too, that maybe they see something that they've dealt with in their life, that maybe maybe they can learn something from the storyline, or relate. I think relating, being relatable to real life, real life stuff, I think is kind of a goal for me in the story, because I think about it, I was writing when I was in college, but I was a 20-something-year-old kid with not a lot of life experience.
Yeah.
Now I'm in, I'm over 50 years old. I've had, 3 kids. I've been through some life stuff over the years, right? And
A
so
lot more to
I think I
tell.
have a
Yeah.
more life experience that I can draw from now when I write, as opposed to when I was in my 20s. So,
Hmm.
um, so I'm, like I said, I'm hoping that people will, like it and then find something relatable to it. So,
Now, do you see this being something that going forward, if you get done with the 3 issues and on down the road, you think maybe it's something that you might do again?
yeah, definitely, definitely. I think this is really it's kind of got me back into trying to think about stories and being creative with characters and different stories. So I've jotted down a couple other story ideas. Um, but I like the idea of sticking with these characters that I'm building within the Doctor, because it takes a lot of work, because you have to build the backstory on the characters. Um, you have to spend some time developing that, and so I wouldn't want to just write them for a couple issues and then kind of throw it away and have to start all over again. So I'd like to continue to build on those characters,
Hmm, okay.
as I look at maybe other storylines.
I like that. Yeah, I like the possibility of that. That's cool. Because I do like this. I like the Dr. Mark Miller, and I'm very curious. It kind of leaves you on a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end of issue 1. So I'm real curious where his story goes, and I'm just kind of curious what where the story goes from there. It's pretty interesting. I enjoyed it.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that, right? Because that was the idea, right? To try to build. You want to leave. There's a little bit of setup in this first issue, right? The kind of
Yeah.
nuts and bolts of how these meetings happen. So I wanted to kind of try to do that in a creative way.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to
You did.
leave. Yeah. So I wanted to leave something at the end of the story, like, all right, I want to know more about that. So,
It was
um,
familiar enough, but then you took the basic idea, and I feel like you improved on it in a really unique way
good.
that nobody's ever done before. And like I was talking to Jonathan Hedrick one time when I had him on here, and he said, if you can just come up with an original idea that nobody's done before, that's most of the fight right there. Just coming up with something original, and so apparently coming up with original ideas is hard to do. And that's something that I'd never seen anybody play around with before. So I like the concept. I think it's really
No, that's
cool.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good to hear. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
I mean,
can't
because
stress that enough. That's my favorite part of the story so far.
we consume so much content, right? Between film,
A lot,
TV,
a
social
lot.
media now, we see so much stuff. And so to try to, you try to put a little different spin on it or be unique is sometimes tough, because,
It's
I've
tough.
watched so many films and so many TV shows that are stuff that I've enjoyed myself that are stuck in the back of my head. And so, I'm trying to not duplicate those things, but put my spin on it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And now how for anybody that's watching that would be interested in getting a copy, how would they go about doing that at this point?
Yeah, so it's still, the Kickstarter is still live until next Sunday, June 2nd.
Okay.
So they can just hit the Kickstarter, but if there's some reason they don't support the Kickstarter now, I'm going to print books that I'll have extra copies of the books after the Kickstarter's done. So I haven't even thought that far yet. How I would, am I going to sell them? I'm certainly going to have some that I'll be using for, giveaways and things like that.
Yeah.
But I haven't even really even thought that far, but I certainly will have extra copies. So,
Are you gonna? That kind of leads me to the next question I was gonna ask. You go to Heroes Con every year. Are you going to be going again this year? Is that going to be a repeat thing this year?
yeah. So while Heroes Con is, we're about 3 weeks away, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
this will be the first time I'm going, but yeah, I'm only about an hour and a half drive away from Charlotte.
Nice.
So my plan is to attend every year, going forward, as long, as long as the community is going to be there, I'll certainly be there.
Will you have the books in hand in time for Heroes Con, or is it a little bit too soon?
It's probably too soon, right? Because the lead time from the printer is about 3 weeks. So it's going to be tough to have the books turned around by then. I could have a proof. I might have a physical, a proof copy that I could take with me and show around. But I don't think I'll have them in the full prints by then.
Okay. Well, I just thought I would ask just to see for anybody that was curious. But if they drop the link, thank you, Hoot. I appreciate you dropping that, man. But if for anybody that's interested, just head over to the link.
Yeah.
And support Brian and this awesome book. And I can vouch for it. It's good writing. And I'm not just saying that because if I didn't like the book, I probably just wouldn't have had you on here, to be 100% honest with you. If I read it and didn't like it, I just wouldn't have had.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's tough. Like, I know I've been put in that position where, people have asked me to come on my, YouTube to promote something, and, you'll get an advanced copy of it and you're like, this is really not for me. So sometimes if I'm put in that position, I may, not have them on, but may say, hey, maybe go ask, this person in the community because they, they might like it or might be better to support it. Because it's tough to kind of support something that, if it's not, you don't like it or it's not your cup of tea,
Yeah, absolutely. But I can honestly say that I do enjoy this book.
I appreciate it.
It's really cool. And it really appeals to me, I feel like, in particular, because the whole recovery deal. But we got a question from Dr. Von Hoot. What's it like to write something better than ASM? Wow.
Well, I think the ASM bar is set very low, so it's really not that difficult to write something better than that. So
than the current story, right? Yes.
Yeah. Now if you were saying Ultimate Spider-Man, then I know I'm not writing at that level. I think Ultimate Spider-Man is probably the best Spider-Man story we've seen in a long time.
It's outstanding. Yeah, it's been really good. Let's see, we're about 42 minutes in. I guess we could go ahead. I was running this giveaway. I had everybody put in the hashtag comic book addicts last week. And we had about 20 people put in the hashtag comic book addicts.
Oh, nice.
Part 2 of the rules was you have to be present in the live. So that's kind of the whole reason I'm doing this Will app thing, because I totally expect that maybe the first time around, it's a possibility they may not be present in the live, and that's part of the rules. So I got everybody loaded up on here. There's 20 different names, and I will blow myself up real quick, and we'll do this.
Good luck, everybody.
But yeah, good luck, guys. Let's see. Let me make sure I got everything ready. The winner, actually, let me show you guys really quick.
Yeah, it's a nice stack of books.
Yeah, it's a cool stack of Marvel foils. The winner gets their choice 3 of the 5 books. So there's a Wolverine foil, and there's a cool Spider-Man.
Yes, please.
We got the Secret Wars issue 1.
That's another great cover.
Yeah, that's an awesome classic.
Oh, Dazzler.
Yes, we got the first Dazzler. And we have this classic Uncanny X-Men. And they're all foil, and you get your choice 3 of the 5. Like I said, 20 people have entered, and Durs collected the names for me. Thank you so much, Durs. I really appreciate you. Big shout out to Collecting with Durs for collecting the names for me last week. But I got you all on here, and we will go ahead and I'll give it a spin, and we'll see who the winner is. Good luck, guys. Let's see. Hope you guys can see that.
It's spinning.
Let's see. Boom. Gary Woods. Let me know if you're in here, man. All you got to do is just say claim. Let me know if you are in here. We'll give you a few minutes, of course. And if you're not, for some reason, we'll go to the next person. But I saw Gary in here a little while ago.
Yeah, he was in earlier, right?
Yeah. So hopefully Gary is still with us, because part 2 of the rules was you have to be present in the live. So we're hoping Gary will be. Wellbore said claim. Nice.
Gary's there. There he is.
Nice. Awesome. Gary Woods, hit me up on IG and let me know which one. I'll send you a picture of these books to remind you, and just let me know which 3 of the 5 that you wanted, and I'll get them mailed out to you. And thank you so much for playing my little giveaway game. I appreciate you, man.
Great giveaway.
But moving on to the CBC Awards, we have the CBC Awards right around the corner, and I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a fun year, and we got open nominations. Here in
15th, June 15th. So just under 3 weeks before we. Yeah. So it's right around the corner. I'm excited. I think we've turned the corner, right? As far as, we're in year 4 now. And so I think, all the, maybe bad feedback and stuff that we had maybe the first year or two, we're well beyond that. And, I think a lot of people who maybe weren't on board early on have now kind of embraced the awards and, or just, not okay with it or could care less and just not paying attention, not saying negative things about it. So, which is fine. But I'm expecting, that
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be, we've continued to grow every year. So I would expect we'd do the same this year. We've added a few more categories. We're up to 30 categories. We have new best editing, best hangout stream. We took
cool.
the best ongoing stream, which was just a single category last year.
Yeah, that's how I was nominated in that one last year.
Yeah, so we moved it to the tiers now. So so that to give everybody an opportunity in the different, sub counts.
Nice.
Because I think that's important, right? Because there's so many live streams, so many great live streams that and reoccurring shows, right? Your show here, like Monday night, there's a whole Monday night lineup. There's a whole Sunday night lineup. There's so many. We're getting into like a schedule now with so many great shows that we thought that was important to move that into the different subcategories so that we could recognize even more people.
So as far as changes and what's new, that's basically what's new. Where the best ongoing series is going to be split up into tiers, and then we have the addition of sorry to make you repeat it, but what were
best editing, and best hangout live stream.
That's great. That's awesome.
Because that's another thing, right? There's a lot of streams that are just casual hangouts, right? Open panel, people come on and just talk about things that are happening in collecting or in movies and things like that. So
just have fun.
We thought that was a good good one to add. So
it is. That's a great expansion because there are a lot of good, and those are important too. They're a lot of fun. I have fun on those hangout live streams. We got Lorenzo. Hey, Pops. Welcome.
Yeah. And Lorenzo, if you don't know, he was the voiceover man for the trailer for The Doctor. So if you go watch the trailer on Kickstarter, you'll hear a familiar voice. I had to get his silky smooth voice on in the project somehow. So
he would have been my number one pick. He has definitely the voice for it. So
and I can't thank him enough for doing it. Reached out, he was like, "Sure, what do you need me to do?" I sent him over, the couple lines of the script, and he, recorded them and sent them back to me. So, a big thank you to Lorenzo for doing that for me.
Yeah, shout out to Pops. Thanks for showing up, Lorenzo. I hope you're having a good evening, Pops, and a safe and happy Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Will we be seeing a pimp named Slaughter this year? Will a pimp make a return this year?
We're in discussion with him. He is a tough negotiator, as given his line of business. But yes, we are hopeful that we will bring the pimp named Slaughter back.
Well, I'm looking forward to the return of a pimp named Slaughter. So that'll be great. Let's see. Can you explain a little bit about the process for anybody that may not be familiar as far as like the open nominations and how does that go? How long does that run?
So the open nominations, it'll open June 15th. It's Saturday. And it runs, the open nominations are for basically 8 weeks. So it's really it's an open nomination. So as long as the channel fits the category, right? So if you're nominating a particular channel in, the best unboxing, but they don't do unboxings, well, then they really don't fit that, right? So that's really the only rule. As long as they fit the category description, you can write anybody's name down. And so, the idea with that is really just to make it as open as possible. So, because there's a lot of channels out there. I mean, I just still discover new channels every week. So, there could be there. I know there's channels out there that I'm not aware of. And so we want it to be just open nomination so that anybody has a shot at being nominated. And so that'll run for 8 weeks. Then once that's done, the top nomination getters in each of the categories, the top 5 will become the finalists. So that's, it's pretty straightforward. And then, then we vote based on the finalists, the 5 finalists in each of the categories. You get the vote, for your favorite. So
nice.
But the nomination period is really important because that, again, it's the open nomination. Anybody can be, anybody within the comic book community on YouTube can be nominated. So we got to just make sure we're getting into all the little pockets and corners of the community and getting channels represented.
Absolutely. And guys, the best way to stay up to date on CBC Award news is to follow the Instagram. Follow CBC Awards on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram and just website cbcawards.org is I post everything up there as well. Keep it keep any new updates that are happening there. So 22.
What's up, 22 Comics? Thanks for joining us, bro. Let us know if you're going live tonight. I know that your internet you had a possibility you might not be able to go. Let us know if you're doing top 10 alternatives or not. I appreciate you. What is you were saying earlier, as far as I was going to ask you, the next question was going to be, what's your main goal for the CBC Awards? But I think I know what you're going to say. It's probably growth, right? Is that the main goal is just to be bigger and better than the previous year?
Yeah, just always just bigger, bigger and better. And, every year we get a lot of feedback. So listening to the community, because it's, I'm just facilitating the awards, right? I don't really, I'm coming up with the categories, working with the committee, but, at the end of the day, I'm just counting votes that come in from the community. So we always want it to be about the community. So if there's a category maybe that isn't not the right fit anymore, or if, every year we look at, well, could we add new categories? So, every year it's kind of changed a little bit based on feedback from the community. So that's really, growing it, making sure that more people are aware of it, and just making sure it still has the voice of the community as far as, categories and things. That's really the most important thing. Two important things to me.
Makes sense. And as far as the committee goes, there have been a few people go, and then there's been a few new people come in. So there's been a little bit of a switch up as far as the committee goes. And that's a good thing, I think. I think it's good to have some new voices here and there.
Sure.
So I think
I think some of the new, committee members that we added this year, and there's a list, and everybody's agreed that, so like K-pop was a new committee member this year, Bleecker Street, John's Comics with Kids. And I think they come just with a different perspective. And, somebody like K-pop, Katie, she knows so many different people in the community and has, and she's going to have a different perspective. Absolutely. And so having, those voices on the committee really help drive, the awards every year. And there may be things that I overlooked or I'm not thinking of. So that's why I have that committee there to really help, voice the opinion of things that they're hearing that maybe somebody will say to them, not to me directly. So just to really, like I said, it's just important to shape it, as a true community event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And
then, I'm really looking forward to maybe seeing Dr. Von Hoot dance again. That's my, for next year.
Because that was an absolute highlight from last year, is seeing some of Hoot's skits, especially that one during the awards that he did with his daughter. It was amazing. I enjoyed that. And
that's like the other big, really fun part of having all of the community involvement and getting community members to make videos and highlight them during the show. I mean, that is, like when I got Dr. Von Hoot's video, I got it, a little, probably a week or two before the awards. I must have watched that like 100 times, just laughing, like this is going to be so great when everybody sees this. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it went over really well. Yeah, it definitely did. Yeah. And that's just something, it's more to come this year. I can't wait. It's going to be great.
Yeah. And Marcus, Marcus Pimp Name Slaughter opening up the awards, that was great. I mean, it's so fun to see everybody, want to be involved and that's what the awards is about. The creativeness, from the community, just coming together and doing something like that. It's I'm just glad to be a part of it. So,
yep. And definitely looking forward to that. The return of the Pimp Named Slaughter. That's going to be great. Can't wait for that. So Marcus, we got to make that happen, man. Wellbore # dad jokes. FTW. Yeah, absolutely, Gary. Nothing like Hoot doing the Hoot Scoot dance. Absolutely. Yes. More of that. With the channel, as far as the Brian LCS channel, you've done a little bit of a switch up recently with the Breakfast with Brian live stream, which is kind of a weekly checkup for me. I've always used it to check up with people in the community. The chat's always popping. It's always a lot of fun. You recently switched it, I don't know, maybe a month ago, really recently, from Saturday mornings from Saturday mornings to Sunday morning. How's that been going? Have you gotten adjusted to that so far? Does it work better for you?
Yeah, it's a little different, right? So the main reason I did it was because and you mentioned it earlier that, you work in retail. So does my wife. And so her days off are kind of all over the place, but she's kind of been in a set schedule where she has Saturdays off. And so that's kind of our day to, go do things together or, stuff around the house or whatever it may be. And so to continue the show on a Saturday was tough because it would go from 10 to 11 and there was prep time before. So if we wanted to do something, we couldn't really get started until after the show was over. And so I made the switch so that I could free up my Saturdays so that we could go do what we wanted. And, so I joined, Sunday, and Sunday's got a pretty strong, content lineup as well. So,
it does.
I was hoping to keep it at 10 a.m., but, Bleecker Street's been going live at 10:45 a.m. on Sundays for a while now. So, so that's really that's the only thing that I need to get used to was moving it. I moved it back 15 minutes. So I started at 9:45. So that was a little bit of adjustment, just because I'm like, I have until 10 o'clock to go live. And then I'm like, oh no, wait a minute. It's 9:45 now. I got to get ready.
Yeah.
So,
well,
other than that, it's been pretty smooth.
Cool. Well, good to hear. And as far as like the channel goes, you're still growing. It's still growing strong. Your organic growth, which is like the most important thing, is growing strong. You got people watching, the live streams popping off. You're putting out really entertaining content. You put out a video about oldest comic shops recently, which I thought was really cool. What's
trying to do something different,
just trying to shake it up a little bit, do some different stuff. I think it's cool. I really enjoy it. And what's kind of some stuff that you have coming up for the channel?
Yeah, kind of more the same, some, if I'm picking up books, I'm certainly with going to Heroes Con, I'm sure I'm going to be, shooting a lot of the convention and, some of the meetups with the community members. So you'll probably see that later in June. But yeah, I'm trying to think of like some different ideas to do. Like, so I did the oldest comic book shop in the United States. And then I just did a video with the oldest in each of the 50 states, across the United States. So trying to dig into a little bit of the history of it, because there's a little bit of a research element to it. And so that's fun for me to do. And so, because I think, sometimes I get bored with making just, all right, here's the latest books I picked up. Because people may not find those books that, I know that not everybody loves Spider-Man, so they may not be excited with the Spider-Man books that I'm showing off. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to switch it up from come up with a couple, some different ideas to try to, make some video with.
Yeah, and that last one, the with the oldest comic shop, that one, that was good. It had me thinking. I was trying to think about. I think the oldest comic shop that I go to here in Chattanooga is probably about 30 years old, and
Okay.
there would be some that would be older, but of course, shops close left and right.
Right. Right.
So unfortunately, a lot of shops have closed here, but then others have popped open. But I think the oldest one here in Chattanooga is about 30 years old.
Yeah, and that's about probably the average is somewhere in like in the 90s that a lot of shops started. There's some in the 80s, and there's a handful in the 70s, and then there's a few in the 60s. But it's been interesting already just looking at some of the comments I've got on the video because to do the research for that, I reached out to as many comic book shops as I could.
Oh, nice.
To just say, hey, when did you open your business? And I found some stuff on the internet where you could look at business records when a business was established. But I already see an update coming because some of the shops that I've mentioned, I've already had some feedback from some people saying, "Hey, that's not the oldest shop. This shop is the oldest." So
Ah, okay.
I'll definitely be doing an update for that eventually, which is good. Like I'm glad to see that people are watching it and giving me some feedback on it because I think it's that to think about a comic shop, the oldest comic shop is Golden Age Collectibles in Washington. So they were
Okay.
open in 1961. So
Wow.
that's, that's crazy to think we've got a 60 something year old comic shop,
Now,
selling.
Bobby said
Yeah,
his is
Bobby. Yeah.
56 years old.
Yeah.
That's old.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's some really shops that have been out there for a really long time. So, yeah, I just find it interesting because also it's kind of building a wish list of shops I want to go visit too now.
Absolutely. Yeah. I wonder how old Mile High Comics is.
Mile High, I think they were I think in the 70s, if I remember right, like in the
Oh, okay.
mid 70s. Yeah, if I remember it right.
Hmm. Very
So
cool. Well, let's see. I think we covered the book. We covered CBC. What can we expect coming up from Brian LCS? You got anything cool coming up? I know you'll be going to Heroes Con. You got that in
yeah,
3 weeks.
Heroes
So,
Con. I'm there are a couple. Doing this research for this video on the comic shops. I found a couple shops here in South Carolina that are only like maybe an hour away from me. One,
oh,
it
cool.
happens to be the oldest in the state, and one is the largest in the state. So I'm going to try to make a road trip up there soon and maybe do a tour of the stores and show off, highlight those stores. So that was one of the
Very cool.
original ideas I had when I started YouTube was to show like different LCSs, but I've never done it. But I
Yep.
think I want to revisit that to kind of, if I visit a shop, see if I can film in there, grab the phone and do a tour of the store and highlight some of the comic shops that I visit.
And most of the shops welcome it. They
Yeah,
want you
well, it's
to.
free, right? Kind of free press for them, right? If they get some eyeballs on
Absolutely.
there, on it through YouTube, maybe somebody will stop in. So
Yeah, yeah. A lot of them will go out of their way to even help you with it. So yeah,
yeah,
I've
no, I
had.
reached out to so many shops, via email and Facebook and things like that, and a lot about when they started their business, and I had a really good response. A lot of shops responded, so it was
Yeah,
it was good to see.
yeah. It's really cool. Um, well, Brian, man, I appreciate you coming to hang out with us. I know it was Memorial Day, and I didn't realize how the date fell and everything, but man, I'm so grateful to have you here hanging out with us this evening. And I wanted to
Yeah,
thank
no,
you for hanging
I
out.
appreciate you having me on, and yeah, I'm glad. Sorry I was a couple minutes late, but
No
we
sweat.
made it
No
work.
sweat.
So, but now,
Absolutely.
don't you have another show coming up tomorrow?
Yes, absolutely.
So we should
Tomorrow,
talk about that, right?
yeah, we could talk about that for a minute. Tomorrow, I actually had the opportunity to. I'm reading the series, The Fog, and it's sort of a continuation on the original 1980 The Fog movie. And I've got this opportunity to talk with the writer of the current series, Steve Ekstrom, and I absolutely love this series. Did not want to pass it up. It's we thought issue 4 was going to be coming out this week. It actually came out this past week, so it's in stores right now. But we thought the way the timing would be that it would be like right before it dropped. But anyways, still a great series, and I had the opportunity to talk to him. He'll be here. We're doing a special Comic Book Addicts tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time for about an hour, and I'll be talking to him about the series. Like I said, issue 4 just dropped, and it has been phenomenal. I've really been enjoying it. I wasn't sure what to expect. I wasn't sure what more could be done with this property, but it's been really good. Steve's killing it, and on top of that, he's a journalist. He was a journalist for, I think, Marvel at one time, so he's probably got some cool stories to tell. So we'll find out. Good. But that's tomorrow, guys. I normally don't do it on Tuesdays, but he had Tuesday free, so I wanted to take the opportunity. So I hope you guys will come join me tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun, especially if you're into horror. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, that should be good. Yeah, I figured I wanted to make sure you mentioned it because I know, you typically don't stream on a Tuesday night. So to remind everybody to come check you out.
Yeah, that was one of those things where I just kind of had to do it when I had the chance. So kind of just taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
But dude, Brian, thank you so much, man. You've been so awesome. Not just tonight, man, but just throughout my whole YouTube experience. I feel like we've grown to be friends. You've been a good friend to me, man. You've always been there if I needed advice or just anything. And I wanted to thank you so much, man.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome.
Really
I appreciate, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I just, I would hope that if I had to reach out to somebody, in the time of need, that somebody would listen to me or give me a helping hand. So I always just like to try to do the same for others. And, just as others have done for me when I first started on YouTube, supporting my channel and helping my channel grow. I just, I like to be able to repay that to others as well. So.
Well, you've been awesome, man. So thank you sincerely, man. I just wanted to thank you while I had you here. And thank you guys. This community is my safety net. I tell you guys that all the time because it's true. And I love you guys. And thank you so much for being here tonight. All you guys and anybody catching the replay, that helps with the watch time. We all know that's incredibly hard to get. So I really appreciate you guys when you stop by and check out my stuff. Tomorrow, like I was talking about just a second ago, we got Steve Ekstrom, writer of the current Fog series. I hope you guys will come back and join me for that. But until next time, we'll leave out how we always do with the little Biggie Shack. Later, guys.
Yeah.
I'd say that one is a banger, man. It's a real certified banger, dude.